Hey, good evening. We've got something that we're going to try to show tonight that apparently some people don't realize how to do, so I think it was too big a deal, but I made this 16-inch circle just now just to show this example. I put a hole in the middle of it when I did it just so we can prove that this is right after we're done. And and this is, I think someone gave them a circle. I've seen this over and over, and I honestly never understood why it's so difficult to understand, but the shape of something doesn't really make any difference on finding your XY0 in the corner, right? Yeah, I know there's no corner on a circle, that doesn't really matter. So whether it's this, and I want to use the lower left, to me is the easiest way to do something. So I know a lot of people will take and draw an X and then come in and guess at it with a point and try to eyeball a center of a zero. And I don't believe in eyeballing anything. When we have a good accurate machine, we don't want to be eyeballing anything. We want to be accurate. So as accurate as we can be, I'm a machinist for my daily life at an aircraft manufacturer, so I'm used to really tight tolerance things, and so I made this 16 inches, and just to verify it, I came in with these 18-inch calipers, and I measured it, and I'm within about 6,000. I'm about 3 thousandths over 16 inches, so we are very close to round, and so we're really within about 5 thousandths of being 16 inches. That is super close in woodworking. So we're going to go with 16-inch circle. Okay. What's half of 16? 8 inches. Remember that number. Okay. Now, get that out of the way. So how do we find the center of this circle? If you really want to use center, I don't want to use center. I think it's crazy to use center, and the reason is, let me show you something real fast on the screen here. If you draw a circle in here, or let me turn the toolpath off on this so we can see stuff. So let's just say we have a circle, and a piece of material that we're going to use here is, in this case, was 16 by 17. Let's go back over here. The piece I cut this out of was a big piece, but I used 18-inch wide by 17-inch height. And so I just drew this circle, and then, so all you do is click this button right here, and you go align to material, and there we are. We're in the center. Everything's in the center, and our zero, see, is right down here in the lower left corner, right? Easy as pie. So that's the reason. There's really no reason to use the center as your zero, because you can center your work like this. So if you put any features in this circle here, let's just say you wanted to put text or anything in this circle, just put, I don't care, it's Saturday, so let's write Saturday in here, okay, and let's just move this somewhere and go, oh my word, I want that to be in the center. Well, number one, I don't like that it's that big, so let's just make it a little bit smaller here. So same thing, just say, okay, center that. And there it is, that's in the center. Everything you put in it could be centered, or even if you had circular things, it doesn't really make any difference. Anything you do, you can center off of, you can do that in your center, or you can put them anywhere you want to. So anyway, that's the reason that I don't see any reason to use a zero in your center. You can, and there's times that I may run 4 pieces of something, and I have a center there, and it's just the way I set it up originally, and or maybe your material varies in size and you like to use the center. There are a few times you might do that, but overall you don't really need to. So let's go back to what was good here. So let's find that, and I got some clamps here, and so what I want you to know, there's a lot of ways to do that, and I think you can see right here just fine, can't you? So I can set my zero if I wanted to. I don't really like working down in this too close, but you could take your auto zero there, set, now my table is perfectly, I've milled all of this everywhere around this, so it's all pretty, it's really square, okay? So I can go find that zero right here on the corner, in which I've actually got a macro to bring it to that corner anyway, but I can set my zero right there in that corner. Then all I gotta do is, and that ain't real accurate, just feeling flush like that, there's your X zero and your Y zero, because you've already set it in that corner, and there you go, clamp it down, do what you want, or stick it down, whatever. Now, there, you found it already right there, that's easy. Now you set it there, you're gonna move 8 inches to the center, right? It's a 16-inch circle, so the distance from here, from your X and your Y, is 8 inches. So all you're going to do is move. So let's just do that right quick anyway. Let me show you this. This is the first, this is not my favorite method, but what I was going to say to make it a little more accurate, you know, you could take something like these 1, 2, 3 blocks, for instance, and bump it where you know it's flush against that one. Do the same here. And that you know, see, I can push that right against that edge, push this one against that edge. Now it's perfectly flush with the corner right there, right? That's my zero. I can actually bring this with a macro right now to, see right down here I've got table zero. Let's just move that. Have found that before, so no, you can't see a whole lot now, but anyway, that is there, that's on that corner. So if I was to push X0 and Y0, see me on the screen right there. Now I know that's an 8-inch circle, right? I mean an 8-inch radius. So all I gotta do is come in here on this XY right down here, highlight those numbers, put 8. Now, let's just move the X and the Y 8 inches. See there? We moved it 8 inches, and now we'll push our X and our Y again on 0. We've just set the center of this circle. And I put a hole in this when I made this just so we could see, you know, verify that we're right. And you can't probably see that. I don't want to move the camera really, but I'm telling you, that end mill is right over that hole that we have in there. That's how you set the center of some circle, if that's what you want to do. Now, let's move this out of the way so you can see again. So, that's one way, and that's not my favorite method. So, it's moving a little slow. I don't like that. That kind of keeps you crowded up in this corner. I don't necessarily like that. The way I've done, now this board is really square, so again, I've already verified. Here's a machinist square that I've checked. It's a really good square corner. All of these corners are square because I've already milled around them. So in that case, all of my dog holes are lined up. They're square with the machine. I already know that. And I've built all this. So if I'm square against those, okay, then let's clamp it down. What do I do with those clamps? Here they are. I lost. All right. So if I wanted to do that, then let's do that. That's probably the best way to do it. If you have something square, then let's do that. We'll just clamp this down just so it don't move around while we're doing this. Okay. And see, now, all that's gonna do is, you're still gonna have to have something to put against there, but I'm just saying, if you want something to find that corner, then you can set that 0 right there. I don't need to waste time to do that. Now, if you wanted to do, I know that doesn't get your circle in there, but I'm just saying, if you wanted to use something square, even if you wanted to eyeball something, draw you some lines on there when that's down and set that right there. Then you can come in and put this up in there on your lines. If you want to eyeball it a little bit, you could have some pencil lines and your X and your Y. Okay, that's you just need to find some lines. That I don't like that because you're guessing and you're eyeballing stuff. Here's the method that I've used before, and it's a little bit time consuming, you might think, but it really doesn't take a lot of time. But let's just take and put some stuff here. See, I got crap in the way, but let's just try this. I've used this method in the past, or shown this method. See if these will be out of my way, I don't know. So here's going to be an easy way to do it. And you won't be using your auto touch thing for this, which is even better because you get to actually understand what you're doing a little better. Get a good straight edge. In this case, I've got a level that I can stick right there. Here's another level. So let's just put one right here. Now, we got those against the stock, these against the stock. And so now all we need to do is find where this is. So how do you do that? Okay, that's easy enough too. So let me do this. So let's bring everything back here. We can touch this. Let me move the camera a little bit. I don't know if you can see around here. Okay, I think that you can see down here, right? So I usually keep a piece of paper right here for putting zeros and stuff. So let's bring our Z down, just so we can get up in there. So let's get in here, and let me bump this down so it's not moving so much. There's 50,000. Now, getting close. I don't want to tear up a tool, but about 10,000. You get a piece of paper in here. Trying not to block your vision here, but you get this piece of paper in here where you can feel when it's getting tight. And that's about it right there. Let's move 5,000 there. That's just pretty close right there. That's the Y direction, so we're gonna go Y, 0. And then we can go to our X. So let's move away from that. We've already set it, so we'll move away. Let's go find the other one up here. So let's move our X over here, do the same thing. You probably can't see it quite as well here, but so let's go. Get our paper in here. So we get that set. And we're set there. We're going to X 0. And now, all we need to do is move away from this, get all this out of the way so you don't crash something. Okay? And go XY, go to XY 0 that we just set. That's where we just set it. Now you can either come in here and just put minus 8 inches, or you can actually make the move. But if I put minus 8.0, enter, that's 8 inches to the left. You can go Y, minus 8.0, enter. And now if we push go to XY position, it's going to go right to the center of that, because that's what we set it right there. And there we are, right on the center of our hole. So that's how you do it. I mean, any kind of way like that. You can also take, if you say, well, I don't have any references on my table like that that I can line up, because I didn't take the time and I didn't make mine so perfect like that. Okay, that's fine too. So in that case, just come in here with your end mill then. And if you wanted to, you could take a framing square, for instance. And let me move this out of the way. There's a lot of ways to do this. That's why I'm kind of showing you a bunch of just common sense stuff that you can figure out for yourself. This ain't nothing. This ain't rocket science or nothing, you know. So take your square like that. Okay, so you know that it's 8-inch radius, so you know that's showing inches. So you go find a pencil. That's lined up here. There's the numbers start right there. So there's 8. Right there's 8 inches. So that's the center point of going in the Y direction. Same way here, you find the 8. Put you a little pencil mark right there. See, or a little arrow, anything, just so you can find that high point of that circle, right? Now you can find it really easy. Whoa, by the same kind of little paper method. Okay, move it over to make it easy since we already said it, unless I move that around a little bit, but let's see. Let's just go straight out here, find our pencil mark, because we know that's the center and that'll be the high point. So just move this around to where it's somewhere close to that area. See? And then just take it down there, stick your little piece of paper into that point. Do the same thing here, find your pencil mark, because that's going to be your high point. And take your little piece of paper and find that right there. Do the same thing, move from, and that's going to put you here, right? That's the same thing as setting your X0 and your Y0, which intersect here. Then just move your X 8 inches and your Y 8 inches, and you've got center. Or just use that point down here. Like the whole point of this was to not use center, but to use this point down here. So once you set that and you set this, you know, like we did earlier, we're going to move. Let's go back to our XY, and in this case, we moved it. But let's just say we want to use our lower left, like I like to do most of the time. Then, in that case, put in 8 inches here. To go back like it was, put 8 inches here. See, that's making it think that it's 8 inches positive. Now when you go to XY, we're down in the lower left. Okay? All right, I hope that kind of helped you think about that a little bit and realize that it's really not a big deal. You can set it anywhere you want, but it's best to not guess and just put a mark and line up, because you can repeat this and find it again if you need to, and it'll be precise instead of, you know, you just eyeballed it the best you could, and now if you need to ever come back to it, you're not going to get right back on it again. You're just eyeballing things, and it's just not that great. So anyway, hopefully that helped. Hopefully that answered the question. I forgot the guy's name that brought that up. Anyway, we'll see you on the next video.